Could you please explain to me in a few words what challenge you were facing prior doing the short program?
I suppose, I mean, there's quite a few challenges in regards to boundaries, and I've only really been aware of them recently, I suppose, when I started doing my life coaching course, because it just makes you focus more on yourself and becoming self aware, whereas I was just sort of bumbling along before. So I sort of, when you sort of posted on the group, I sort of snapped up the chance because I knew I had this problem and I hadn't seeken or sought help for it previously. And I was a bit like, oh, I don't really know, how do you get help for boundaries? But my problem, my biggest problem was I was a people pleaser. I would just say yes, yes, yes to everything. And I would suggest that that is probably conditioning because of my job. So working in customer services, it's all about saying yes and giving the customer exactly what they want. But I was finding that after being in that sort of role for 12 plus years, it was starting to completely come over to all walks of my life. At home with my husband, no, I can be 100% myself with him, so that's fine. It wasn't really there. It was everywhere else. So it wasn't just with the customers. It was work. So my colleagues, my employers, my direct bosses. It was all of them that I just was. There was no boundaries in place between the customer saying no to the customers and then being also able to say no to them. And I was just taking on far too much. So that's why I needed sort of guidance, and to look into the subject of boundaries a bit more, and having not only had this sort of awareness of it being an issue, and it leading to the point of become overwhelmed with work because of the amount of work I was taking on because I couldn't say no, basically.
Yes.
So that's why I needed help.
Okay. And is that what you got from?
I would say the sense of awareness over the different types of boundaries was phenomenal. And actually, the task of stopping and closing your eyes, going inwards, and focusing on the different types of boundaries, the physical, the emotional, the mental, that really had an effect. And I'm still thinking about it every day since I've done it.
That's amazing.
And I'm also taking the time to think, well, let's have a think back to other boundaries that would have been crossed. And it's helped me, in a way, become prepared for future eventualities, and what I can do to, make sure my boundaries are not crossed, professionally, because this is where it's really happening. It's happening in my professional life. Um, and I was finding, actually, before I even knew about boundaries, that because of the burnout, the stress, I was getting a bit defensive at work and snappy and stressed out with my colleagues because I didn't have the boundaries in place. I didn't respect myself, and when it got too much, when it just boiled over, and that I completely want to avoid, because that's not professional. If you want to get anywhere in life, you've got to maintain a level head.
Yes. By learning about ourselves as much as we can, and that's the only way that we can do that. We can become like full-on leaders, but when we carry loads of shadow, it's going to jeopardize the authority that you can get, and two, your sense of self and self-awareness and self-worth. So yeah, it's really important step, and I'm really happy for you that you found that key. And every step in your life from withholding this key, you can open so many doors. It's amazing.
Yeah,
It's beautiful.
yeah, exactly.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. No, thank you for it. It's all because of you. So I'm really grateful. So grateful.